When your cat eats the same dry food every single day, do you actually know what that's doing to their body? It's convenient. It's what everyone uses. It's what you've been told is complete. But behind that routine, there's something most owners never question. It's one of the most overlooked and quietly damaging parts of caring for a cat. And if you ignore it, which most people do, you might be limiting your cat's health without even realizing it. Let's start with what your cat's body actually needs, and why most diets are missing it. 1. It's not about food. It's about missing nutrients. Have you ever looked at your cat's food and thought, this should be enough? Most people assume commercial food covers everything, but here's what's actually happening. Many cats are not suffering from lack of food. They're suffering from lack of diversity. Cats are obligate carnivores, but that doesn't mean one food forever. In the wild, they eat whole prey, organs, connective tissue, fluids, a wide nutritional spectrum. But modern diets are repetitive, processed, narrow. So even when your cat is fed, they can still be undernourished in key areas. Think about that for a second. Your cat isn't just eating to feel full. They're eating to repair, to regulate, to survive. And by the way, if your cat has dull fur, low energy, or digestion issues, don't brush it off. We'll come back to why that matters later. 2. The science. Real food changes their body faster than you think now. Here's where it gets even more powerful. What actually happens when you introduce real whole foods? A study from Colorado State University's Veterinary Teaching Hospital found that cats receiving omega-3 fatty acids showed measurable improvements in inflammation and coat condition in just 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That means what you feed your cat doesn't just affect them long-term, it changes them quickly. Omega-3s reduce inflammation, support brain function, improve skin and coat. And here's the deeper part most people miss. Inflammation is the root of almost everything. Joint pain, skin issues, organ stress. So when you fix that, you don't just improve one thing, you improve everything. Think about that. Food is not just fuel, it's regulation. 3. If it doesn't smell like home, it doesn't fully belong. Have you ever noticed your cat being picky, rejecting certain foods, but obsessing over others? Most people think it's random preference. But here's what's actually happening. Cats rely heavily on scent to determine safety. Food isn't just taste, it's identity. Studies on feline behavior show that cats associate familiar scents with safety, territory, and trust. So when you introduce natural foods like sardines or bone broth, you're not just feeding them, you're activating instinct, you're speaking their biological language, and here's where it gets even more meaningful. When your cat accepts a food, they're not just eating it, they're trusting it. Think about that for a second. Trust starts with scent. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. 4. These foods work because they go back to the wild. Now, here's where it gets deeper. Why do these simple foods work so well? Because they're closer to what your cat evolved to eat. In the wild, cats don't eat processed pellets. They eat moisture-rich, nutrient-dense prey, bone, tissue, fluids. So when you introduce things like bone broth, you're restoring something ancient. Collagen supports joints, glycine repairs the gut, fluids fight dehydration, and this is critical. Cats naturally have a low thirst drive, which means most domestic cats are chronically dehydrated. Think about that. Every day, their body is running slightly below optimal, and one simple food can change that. 5. Not every cat gets this, and that changes everything. Have you ever seen one cat thrive, while another struggles with constant issues? Most people think it's genetics, but here's what's actually happening. Not every cat gets access to real nutrition. Some cats live their entire lives without ever receiving the nutrients their body truly needs. But when a cat does get that, you see the difference. Stronger coat, better energy, sharper behavior, and here's where it becomes personal. If you're the one providing that, you're not just feeding your cat, you're changing their experience of life. Think about that for a second. They depend entirely on what you choose. 6. This is what most owners never realize. This is the part most people completely miss. When you give your cat the right foods, you're not just improving health, you're removing stress from their body. Because poor nutrition creates internal strain, digestive imbalance, inflammation, weakened immunity. But when the body gets what it needs, everything stabilizes. And here's the deeper truth. A healthy cat behaves differently. They're calmer, more present, more connected. Remember earlier when I said small signs like low energy matter? This is what I was talking about. Because those signs are not personality, they're physiology. Think about that. Your cat isn't just slowing down. Their body might be asking for help. 7. The warning. When you ignore this, it builds up now. Here's what most owners never realize. These problems don't appear overnight. They build slowly. A little inflammation here, a little digestive issue there. Until one day, it becomes something bigger. Skin conditions, kidney issues, chronic discomfort. Studies on animal nutrition show that long-term dietary imbalance is one of the biggest contributors to preventable health issues in cats. So when you ignore small signs, you miss the early window to fix them. Think about that for a second. Your cat doesn't complain, they adapt, and that's why so many problems go unnoticed. Until they're serious, don't ignore it. 8. The foods that change everything. So what are the actual foods? Let's make this simple and powerful. Sardines for omega-3s and inflammation control. Pumpkin for digestion balance. Eggs for complete protein. Bone broth for hydration and healing. Blueberries for cellular protection. Turmeric for inflammation reduction. Greek yogurt for gut health. Cooked salmon for skin, brain, and joints. Kefir for deep microbiome repair. These are not supplements. These are real foods with real impact, and most of them are already in your kitchen. 9. The real shift. You stop guessing, you start understanding. This is where everything changes. When you stop feeding blindly and start feeding intentionally, you begin to see patterns, what helps, what doesn't, what your cat responds to. And suddenly, you're not guessing anymore, you're understanding. Think about that. You're no longer reacting to problems, you're preventing them. So, can human foods really fix almost everything in cats? Not by magic, but by giving their body what it was always designed to need. That's not a trick, that's biology. Because your cat doesn't need more food, they need the right food. And those small changes, those simple additions, they were never small to their body, and they shouldn't be small to you either. Like and subscribe as it helps other cat owners learn about this.